waves a checkered flag for Nicky Hayden. A date with Lady Daytona can be kind or cruel, but always memorable. This year was no different, and yet like no other. Nicky Hayden was crowned king of the spring prom and made toast of the town, while defending champ Mat Mladin was stood up by another lady called Luck. No lady at all, it seems. Some came away from the big party with at least something to show for the time they spent dancing on the high banks. Others were left wondering where their hopes and intentions went astray. And now, a continent away, a new game waits to be played. Fate has dealt the cards now held by those who would be champion. Fontana is the new belle of the ball. Everyone has come dressed in their finest to try and catch her eye. Let the courtship begin anew. Live AMA Superbike Championship racing on Speed. The newest track on the AMA circuit hosts round 2 of the Chevy Trucks U.S. Superbike Championship season. California Speedway in Fontana and the Yamaha Superbike Challenge doubleheader weekend. Hello everyone, I'm Brian Drever. My broadcast partner is David Sadowski, Daytona winner and Super Sport champion. We left Daytona, that one's in the record books. The meat of the season starts here with this doubleheader weekend ski. And some guys left Daytona singing, and others were singing the blues.
Yeah, the guys on the box are definitely happy about coming into Fontana. They'll have the option, Brian, of playing it conservative or charging for glory. Got to take a look at Nicky Hayden. He's going for a 6th consecutive win. That'll be an AMA record. He's carrying so much momentum from the Daytona win and last season's string of victories. He's definitely the most powerful favorite out there. Then you can look at Jamie Hacking. He stormed through to 2nd place. He'll have that option to go for it or to be conservative. And then Anthony Gobert, who's really fast here this weekend at Fontana. He finished 3rd at Daytona. He's sitting pretty. Look at this, though. When you take a look at the points, all those guys that have got points at Daytona, their seasons are looking good. Take a look at the second page here. These guys have 0 points. Let's start off with Mat Mladin. He was injured in a practice crash in the International Horseshoe. He'll come with 0 to the plate here at Fontana. Miguel Duhamel, a mysterious engine failure, put him out of Daytona, 0 points. Pascal Picat, a shifting problem on the Ducati. Problems with the team afterward. That brings in Doug Chandler. He'll replace Pascal Picat on the HMC Ducati, but he has 0 points. Let's add one more to that list. Curtis Roberts, he has 25 points, but effectively after this weekend, he had a practice crash. Take a look at this. Roberts getting separated from the RC51 and then rejoining the bike later on to have the thing roll over his knee. He's really hurt bad, but nothing seriously broken. He's going to have to sit out this weekend, but one of my favorites, Roberts, on the ground and out, 0 points for him.
Well, the fellow who's been fast all weekend is Anthony Gobert, pleasing, of course, his team bosses at the Yamaha Superbike Challenge. Let's go downstairs right now to the 3rd member of our broadcast team. Greg White is with the pole sitter.
Well, Anthony Gobert sitting on pole. Long rain delay today, but you ready to go racing?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. It's going to be a little bit dodgy, but, you know, it's the same for everybody. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited about it still. Hopefully we can get a good start and have a good race.
Now, about an hour ago, you guys had a practice session. What are the track conditions like?
Not too bad, really. It was a little bit drizzly, but it seems a little bit better now. So, yeah, hopefully it should be good.
Well, Anthony Gobert, the fast guy, ready to win this race. Brian?
Well, it has been a long delay, but we're going racing in just a few minutes. But before we take a break, some sad news to report. Mesa, California racer Ricky Lundgren was fatally injured during yesterday's qualifying for the Superstock class. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his wife, Kelly, and the rest of his family. Chevy Truck Superbike, brought to you by Dunlop. No other tire has won more national championships than Dunlop. Whether you ride on road or off, ride on the winningest tires in history. Dunlop motorcycle tires. By Yamaha, makers of fine motorcycles and ATVs. Nobody's more in tune with motorsports than Yamaha. By Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And by Honda, the company that defines performance in motorcycles, ATVs, and scooters. Anthony Gobert will finally lead them away on a warm-up lap prior to racing here at California Speedway for the Chevy Trucks U.S. Superbike Championship. Glad you could hang in there with us because I think it's going to have been worth the wait. Let's take a look at the track here. It's brand new to everybody. We've been here for a couple of days, and the riders have had very few opportunities to really ski. To take a look at it.
Well, in sunny California normally, but we've got an overcast 2.36 miles, 21 turns, Brian, and there is no place to rest for 28 laps.
Quite a setup here in a beautiful facility, California Speedway. And there's a look at the riders down on the grid. They'll be going out for a warm-up lap. While they do, let's take a look at how they'll line up. Anthony Gobert, the pole sitter, with a single qualifying session. Aaron Yates, Nicky Hayden, and Mat Mladin make up the remainder of row number 1.
And as we mentioned at the beginning of row number 2, Curtis Roberts, he's a no-show on the starting grid, but Eric Bostrom, Jamie Hacking, and Doug Chandler are looking for a good start to chase those guys in row 1.
Row number 3 will be Miguel Duhamel on the Honda, Pascal Picat on the Blue Bayou Ducati. Jimmy Moore, the Superstock champion, and Chris Ulrich on the Valvoline Emgo Suzuki make up row 3.
This racetrack's good for privateers. Owen Ritchie heading off row 4 next to Craig Connell, Lee Acree, and Vincent Haskavec, the rider from the Czech Republic.
On row number 5, Brian Perriott. Andy Dethridge is currently 7th in points. Top privateer finisher at Daytona. Rich Conacelli was 9th, and also Rob Jensen. Go back through the rest of the starting grid here. You're going to be taking a look at a total of 38 riders who were able to go out in the single qualifying session and go fast enough to get in the field. Brian Liebengood, 8th at Daytona. A lot of privateers in the money and in the points. In fact, there are 24 privateers ahead of Mat Mladin and the others who came out with 0.
You can see that the manufacturer's logo has not changed. All these guys riding on the very popular GSXR Suzuki 750. And these guys, this racetrack's known to burn up tires. Some of those privateers that are going a tad slower can keep the tires underneath the machine, and barring any catastrophic tire failures, you'll see privateers maybe on the box here today.
Jamie Hacking maneuvering around there, as is the 21 of Pascal Picat, back towards the starting grid area. Some of the riders are out on their warm-up lap, and others have elected apparently not to go out there really, and they're just returning to their start positions right now.
Well, they had the option after the parade lap to take the warm-up lap. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but they could duck behind and change tire compounds. The weather here in the low 60s out at the California Speedway, and it could be that Picat and Hacking either missed the boat or went back and made a change.
And they're going to take their positions here shortly. We will have a couple of onboard cameras. One of them will be carried by Eric Bostrom on the number 32 bike that you see returning to the grid right now. Jamie Hacking and his new crew chief, Tom Houseworth, having a talk with him there. House and Hacker were together on Yamaha back a few years ago when Jamie Hacking was winning super sport races. There's Anthony Gobert and his crew, Jefferson Burke and Tom Halverson, the rest of the guys having a word with their men, giving him an attaboy and sending him out on the racetrack. There's the Daytona winner in his brand new Scorpion King Universal Studios livery. He is the Scorpion King out here today. And next to him, of course, the defending champ, Mat Mladin. Aaron Yates pulls up into position. Here is Eric Bostrom's onboard camera facing the rear. The Chevy truck's onboard. We'll be giving you a look at whoever is behind Ebaz here today. Out front of the number 69 Honda, the Pro Honda Oils onboard camera of Nicky Hayden.
Guys getting set to go here. Really cold, waiting all day long. The butterflies as big as they can possibly be before they drop the green on this one. Aaron Yates wore his Yoshimura Racing, Blimpie Yoshimura Racing jacket on his warm-up lap. So going to take a little bit for these guys to get up to acclimation to this very cool California temperatures. Mat Mladin putting the visor down on his Blimpie Suzuki.
And we are getting ready to go. The officials have left the starting grid. The bikes are in gear. The green light is about to go on. No one's allowed to creep. They have to stay in the box. Little bit of creep from the outside of front row. Not sure if it was enough to warrant a penalty. But look at this scramble into turn number 1. Whoa!
Miguel Duhamel with a great start. He had Curtis Roberts voided from the second row. He had a clean shot. Look at this right now, unbelievable. Doug Chandler on the Ducati, first time he's ever let the clutch out on the bike. He's up into the top 3.
Mat Mladin running in about 3rd spot there. We saw the great big number 1 as they head down into the short chute towards turn number 5. On left-hand turn number 6, another left number 7.
Aaron Yates leads it over Mat Mladin. Blimpie Yoshimura Suzuki's dominating the whole shot here.
Suzuki's running 1-2, and Aaron Yates, of course, a man known to have very little fear, if any, is going out there on a still slightly damp track. In 3rd position, it is Anthony Gobert. He said, if I get a good start, I'll have a good race. He's in 3rd place right now.
Nicky Hayden in 4th. Nobody challenging.
Oh, a problem for Eric Bostrom.
Going after the clutch adjuster there. It looks like he may have burned the clutch on the start.
That was the problem he had at Daytona as well. He burned it up a little bit on the restart, and he just limped around out there to a 5th place finish at Daytona. Could it be that clutch problems have bit him again?
Yeah, they're running these slipper clutches on the Superbikes now for corner entry. You hammer it one time on the start, and that's all she wrote for Eric Bostrom. That's going to cost his championship big time.
3 riders with a slight break, and now Mat Mladin out of the draft on Aaron Yates going into turn 1, but he backs out and lets Yikes go in there first in the chicane.
Speed, Brian.
Oh man, he backs it into that chicane. One of the only riders to do it.
14 left-hand turns and 7 kind of bends to the right, but this is predominantly all left-hand turns. Mat Mladin running there in 2nd place on the number 1 bike. He's got a damaged left elbow, and that's just going to plague him for every 28 laps here.
Stretch now, a hard left-hand turn 5 and 6 coming up just very shortly. The only real major right-hand turn, they call it 8A9, and it has caught a few riders out this weekend. In fact, that is the area where Curtis Roberts had his problem. Here it is, the big right-hander right here. Look at Mladin running up on Yates, but then backs it out. Making the bridge there. Looks like Nicky Hayden starting to make a little bit of a catch-up. Yates, Mladin, Gobert, Hayden, and Duhamel with Doug Chandler in 6th. That was the running order at the end of lap 1. Chandler has moved up into 5th past Duhamel right now and behind Nicky Hayden.
Chandler very consistently fast on the HMC Ducati, replacing Pascal Picat as we told you, but Pascal Picat's got him in sight. And believe me, there'll be a rivalry for championship points between the 2 Ducatis out there.
Nicky Hayden, Daytona winner and Scorpion King out here today. And Aaron Yates now once again. Mat Mladin pulls up alongside. He didn't get him at the line. Will they get him into turn 1? Yes, this time he makes the pass work. And Mat Mladin, the defending 3-time AMA Superbike champion, goes to the lead.
Gobert's going to follow his fellow Australian around Yates. He can't let him go like that.
A 3-bike breakaway led by the number 1. Take a short break. We'll be right back. Back at California Speedway, you're looking at the tussle for 2nd, and Anthony Gobert has now taken it away from Aaron Yates, setting out in pursuit of fellow Australian, but Suzuki rival Mat Mladin, who is out in the lead right now. Mladin, who didn't even start at Daytona from his injured elbow, has been nursing it since then. It's still not 100%, but obviously it's pretty doggone good, Ski.
Yeah, he's really pressing it right now, throwing down some pretty serious laps. 127 flat on race tires on a very, very cold racetrack. On board now, Pro Honda Oils, Nicky Hayden. Listen to this V-twin. Constantly putting inputs into the RC51. As I said, no place to rest. These curvings treacherous right now with the moisture in the air. You can't even nick the curving.
And let's talk just a little bit about how there has been such a distinction between the V-twin bikes and the 4-cylinder bikes so far here at Fontana. Consistently, the 4-cylinder bikes, the Kawasaki, Suzuki, and Yamahas have been faster than the twins, Honda and Ducati.
That doesn't really make sense. You see Nicky Hayden getting a little bit tossed out of the saddle there. It's a stop-and-go racetrack until you get onto the bankings here. The twins should dominate this race, but it's like Mladin and Gobert are defying what is really common knowledge, side by side for the lead.
And it is going to be Mladin who hangs on to it, but Gobert challenged him and showed him a wheel, so Mat Mladin knows that Anthony Gobert's got a problem.
No, shortcut right up the inside. Anthony Gobert showing him the short way around.
Looked like Matt may have missed a shift or made a small mistake there. It really opened the door for Gobert.
He's setting up for the turn. He's got to use a lot of upper body leverage.
Well, and he also says that he has so little feeling in his left foot. He runs street pattern shifting. To downshift, he says, I just stomp on it 3 or 4 times. It better go into gear.
Anthony Gobert's going to get a clean track here with a clean view. Right now, Gobert 26.5 to catch Mladin a half a second quicker that last lap by. It's going to be sayonara unless Mat Mladin can step it up and match the fellow Australians' lap times aboard the Yamaha.
And everybody has closed the gap. They're looking at 5 or 6 bikes all together right now. There's Gobert. There's Mladin number 1. Yates 20. Hayden 69 and Chandler 10. They're nose to tail on the front of the field right now.
Only guy in the 26s, though, is your leader, number 16. Taking a look at Nicky Hayden back there in fourth. You can see him at a 27.1, but 95-mile-an-hour average around this 2.36 mile Fontana circuit.
Duel starting to creep into the picture. He is not far behind Doug Chandler. Likewise, Jamie Hacking has also made the gap. He is just behind Duel.
With all the stop-and-go mentality of this racetrack, Gobert right now is going to try to pull a disappearing act, because in about 10 laps, they're going to catch the privateer. And if you have to follow a privateer,
Nicky running up behind Mladin.
it'll cost you whatever lead that Anthony can build right now. When he gets into traffic, it's going to get eaten up if he catches a lap rider in the wrong place, Brian.
Well, it looks like Hayden is pretty hard on the brakes and trying to make up ground that way, on and off the turns. The difficulty that most of the riders on Twins have said they had this weekend is the quick left-right transitions, or more accurately, right-left. There are very few, and especially going into the chicane where you have to really throw the bike from one side to the other.
That reciprocating mass of the big V-twin crankshaft will keep a bike from making those quick transitions, Brian. That's where the inline 4-cylinders kind of excel. You get the RPM out of the engine in between these left-right transitions, and it makes the bike steer faster.
There you can see the entire lead group of 6 bikes. Make it 7, really. Hacking is right there. Only Pascal Picot has really kind of missed the gap. He's about 3 seconds behind this group. There he is, coming into the picture just up in the upper right-hand corner. 92, Jamie Hacking at the back of 7 riders going for the lead.
Duhamel getting pressed by the youngster. Miguel Duhamel's bike prepared by Al Ludington. They had a really freak engine failure at Daytona. Can't really discuss what it was all about, but these guys are still wondering what happened to it.
Duhamel and Hacking 6th and 7th. There you see the 5 bikes just in front of them, and in front of everybody is Anthony Gobert, the pole sitter. He came 3rd off the line, but he's leading the race right now. We'll be back in just a few moments. Chevy Truck Superbike, brought to you by Joe Rocket, evolution of a champion. Back here at California Speedway, big development behind leader Anthony Gobert, who is still pretty comfortably out in front right now, although he has no shortage of challengers. There were 7 bikes contesting for the lead here, or at least we could say in the lead group behind Gobert. But just a few moments ago, Miguel Duhamel is now heading for the pits because over in the turn 5-6 area, he was on the ground.
It looked like Miguel just staying on the brakes just a little bit too long. You see him heading into 5, the front end starts to plow. You're carrying so much speed into there. This racetrack got rained on all day. There's just not the available traction that was there previously. Miguel with a small error there, he's mad at himself, runs over to the bike. But he's not giving up, Brian. They'll fix this thing up in a jiffy and get him back out.
Absolutely. They're already on the job over there right now. The Honda crew that works for Miguel Duhamel. It's Al Ludington, the crew chief. Greg Wood works on the chassis. John Ethel, the engine man, and they're all throwing down. The whole Honda team is over there working with them. No problems for Anthony Gobert up front right now as he is tucked down tight in the bubble and starting to stretch a lead. He's got almost a full second advantage over his closest pursuer, which has now turned into Nicky Hayden in second.
Both Hayden and Gobert, you look at their laps in traffic. Here comes that lap traffic I was talking about. And on board now with Pro Honda Oil's Nicky Hayden. I think he's ready to mount his charge after Gobert. This is a little bit too much distance to make up on a lap rider. It can happen just like that, and Hayden will be in the lead.
Such delicate throttle control required in so many turns around the racetrack. There is Nicky Hayden, and Aaron Yates is pushing him.
Oh, and Aaron Yates had a notion right up the inside of the 69 rider. Let's see where Yates is going to set up Nicky Hayden.
question right now, where is Mat Mladin? He has started slipping back. In fact, he is currently being in 6th position. You can see him in the distance with the big number 1 just coming around the lap rider that the 5 riders in front of him have already passed.
Can't tell if that's related. And Mladin pulling off the racetrack here, missing his marks. Just taking a look over out the window here, but Mladin just completely missed a turn. His arm's got to be killing him, Brian.
Well, he's had to work awful hard after a long rest. You know, if he could have worked it on it all weekend maybe, but he's just been sitting around cold, damp weather, and you know how that is going to adversely affect any kind of injury. It's been miserable here for the last, certainly the last 12 hours or so. Mat Mladin, though, soldiering on while repairs are being made to the bike of Miguel Duhamel in the pits. There's Nicky Hayden in 2nd, Aaron Yates 3rd. A small gap back to Doug Chandler now, who is currently 4th. There he is in the company of Jamie Hacking, who saw Duhamel right off the track in front of him horizontally.
We are going to have a race for the lead here right down to the wire. Anthony Gobert's being caught by Nicky Hayden. Aaron Yates is in tow. They're taking 2 different lines completely. So that tells me that Aaron Yates' GSXR 750 is going anywhere he wants it to. That guy's a bulldog. You saw him at the 600 race at Daytona. He'll sit back there, put the pressure on you, let you bake your tires to a crisp, and then he'll charge you at the finish line.
He's showing a lot of patience for a man that is considered to be one of the most aggressive in racing, and that netted him a win in the 600 race, the Super Sport race at Daytona. Currently in 3rd, stalking Nicky Hayden. Hayden is trying to close the gap on Anthony Gobert and the Yamaha. He's been able to do that. He's down to about 0.6 of a second from 0.9 a while ago. Not a lot, but every little 1/10 of a second counts. And yes, Dr. Smooth is operating out there too.
1.8 seconds off the lead. He could use the lap rider to help out his cause, but he's maintaining about the same distance. Really impressive out of Doug Chandler. From a semi-retirement state to the HMC Ducati with 1 test session. That's why he is Dr. Smooth, Brian. He can do this at will.
Involuntary semi-retirement, but he and longtime crew chief Gary Medley have been reunited under the HMC Ducati banner, and that is a formidable 1-2 punch. Chandler and Gary Medley.
Got to give a nod of the hat to Mitch Hansen, too, for a very tough season and tough decisions that he's had to make. But this proves that Chandler was the man for his seat. Pascal Picot's doing pretty good out there, too, on HMC's older stuff that is run by the Blue Bayou Ducati team.
Well, it was a bit of a soap opera over the 3 or 4 weeks since Daytona, with Tom Houseworth moving over to Suzuki to rejoin Jamie Hacking, and with Mitch Hansen, as you say, making the courageous call that he felt like was right for his team to end his relationship with Pascal Picot and replace the rider with Doug Chandler. And side-by-side racing, there's going to be a lot more of that when we come back after a very short break here. Believe me, we are far from the end of round 2. Stay with us. California Speedway, Doug Chandler is pulled right behind Aaron Yates. They're going around some lap traffic. So we've got a good battle going on for 3rd position. And Nicky Hayden is right on the back tire of Anthony Gobert up front, especially on the banking. They're running through a lot of traffic right now, Ski. So the gaps are kind of disconcerting, if you will.
Yeah, a lot. We got Sparks.
Yates throwing down Sparks.
Doug Chandler doing a great job. These guys are getting scattered in front of him, getting spooked. They're going all different directions. Chandler's got the toughest job right now, working his way through what's being scattered out in front of him. Doug Chandler very, very smooth on that Ducati. I'll tell you what, he's got a whole handful of linear torque underneath that right throttle hand that he didn't have with the Kawasaki, and he's loving it. V-twin power. Want to take a look here at Chandler's riding style. So smooth, but watch this through traffic. We want to talk about rush hour. Yates getting pumped out. Whoa! Chandler works his way around.
Pedro Valiente there had a little close meeting with Aaron Yates, and Doug Chandler just smoothed right on through.
Take a look at Chandler's, watch one on the corner entry on his right handlebar. Take a look right in this area here where he's going to have to pull the front brake lever in, and that keeps the nose of that Ducati down. It's been known to be a slow steering motorcycle, but Chandler's adapted to the bike, and he trail brakes into the corner so deep the front fender is completely collapsed by the front suspension, but Chandler's able to make that bike steer like a Kawasaki by holding that brake lever in as he goes all the way into turn 1.
Coming up on number 38, Dean Misdahl there. Chandler goes around and still working his way through traffic. Doug Chandler has never raced a Ducati, but Gary Medley has indeed worked on one. In 1999, he was Ben Bostrom's crew chief on the Vance and Hines.
Oh, Hacking getting a little impatient.
Oh, yeah, Chandler goes around him.
Nicks the front tire of Jamie Hacking on the 92. Chandler didn't even feel it, but Jamie Hacking was trying to use the rider as a screen to get around the 10. Jamie, be patient. This kid wants to get up front. He knows he can win today. Look at that rear tire slide.
Jamie Hacking running in 5th spot, but he wants 4th from Doug Chandler right now. Chandler's just running such smooth lines, it's very difficult to pass him as they both go by. Robert Mesa. Take another look.
Take a look around the 26. Chandler has to make an abrupt move there. Just barely nicks Jamie Hacking's bike. Doesn't even phase him a bit.
Yeah, I was squirming in my seat, but he never moved. Chandler and Hacking, 4th and 5th right now in the race, while up front, Anthony Gobert has just about a 1-second lead over Nicky Hayden. Aaron Yates is right behind, and then these two, Chandler and Hacking, are not far behind Yates, who is 3rd.
Anthony Gobert consistently about a 1/10 of a second faster than Nicky Hayden through that traffic, but it's all going to change. These guys get in groups and bunches, and there's only a one-line affair through, I think, about 6 turns here.
Well, the gap has grown quite a bit. That traffic hurt these two riders, Doug Chandler and Jamie Hacking, quite a bit. They're now 3 seconds behind the leader. They were a second and a half last lap. Nicky Hayden, however, just over 1 second behind Anthony Gobert. And so far, error-free. Aaron Yates is right behind him.
14 laps into this one. There's plenty of tire wear and body fatigue to play into the factor here towards the end.
It's significant to note that 14 laps is halfway, and there's really very little chance of any weather in the area, but the race could be stopped at this point, and it could be called a complete race. After 23 laps, it would be called a complete race should it be stopped for any reason.
Amazing drive off the turn from Aaron Yates there, keeping Nicky Hayden at bay.
And they're closing the gap to Anthony Gobert once again, now that the traffic went away for a while, but here it comes again. Sean Conrad on the 401 is going to see the 3 leaders here in just a few minutes.
So frustrating, Brian. I mean, everybody has to become within 112% to qualify for this race, but when they're on the racetrack, they don't go quite as fast as in qualifying, and the closing speeds on the banking here are some 20 miles an hour faster. Nicky Hayden grabbing a gear, 4th, 5th, 6th. His bike will reach 177 miles an hour before he even thinks about grabbing the brake lever.
So Anthony Gobert crosses the finish line. 15 laps are gone. Nicky Hayden is right behind him, and Aaron Yates behind them both. Stay with us. Anthony Gobert and Aaron Yates running 1 and 2 right now. Yates was able to make the pass on Nicky Hayden and has moved up into 2nd position, challenging for the lead. Hayden was able to close the gap, but not really challenge Gobert. Let's see if Yates has anything for him.
I think we're discovering here at California Speedway that winning this race is all about slicing your way through lap traffic. And Aaron Yates is ready to show Gobert how to do it. He'll throw an elbow or two.
Here's how Aaron Yates got around Nicky Hayden while we were away. Take a look.
Clean shot under braking down the back straightaway and into turn 5. This is where Miguel Duhamel lost the front end. Yates holding straight up and down, uses the lap rider as a pick, and that holds up Hayden just enough. That was close racing.
Job well done by Aaron Yates. He chose the correct side. And now they're both up behind another rider about to go a lap down.
I believe that's Dean Misdahl in the 38 Suzuki.
We've seen him once before, side by side across the line. Yates is technically the leader of that lap, but now he is the leader of the race.
Good horsepower matchup there. The inline 4-cylinder 750cc machines almost equal there. I'd have to say that Yates had a little bit more top end speed. But watch Anthony Gobert. He'll go to work on Yates and just whittle him down.
Gobert has led almost every lap. He pretty quickly got the lead after just a couple of laps into the race. He had to work his way up from a third-place start. Now he's going to get a chance to look at a man that just caught him and see if he can counterattack.
Yates real fast with it when this track was damp. A lot of confidence in his tires and confidence in his machine. Vic Pasola tuned Blimpy Yoshimura Suzuki 750, the class of the field at the moment. But believe me, Anthony Gobert is not finished with Aaron Yates. It's just going to be a matter of where the traffic falls. And if Aaron Yates gets a break, he's going to put his head down right now and try to go as fast as he can. He's cutting lap times right now, the 126.5 region. And if he can get a 126 flat through traffic, that's just amazing.
Aaron Yates out in front with Anthony Gobert now trying to work his way around first Brian Perriott, and then he also came up on Woody Dethridge on the 35. Remember Dethridge, the 7th place finisher from Daytona. Now he's working on the 53, John Dugan, who finished 14th at Daytona, going a lap down here at California Speedway. And lurking behind both of them is Nicky Hayden, again looking for clean track, using big Honda power to close up on the gap. Can he get into the turn here ahead of the lap rider? No. Woody Dethridge is going to hold him off for another one.
For a moment, look at the speed. That's factory horsepower against a semi-privateer. Woody Dethridge building his own engines. Top 10 finisher at Daytona. Still smiling, loving the sport. And Nicky Hayden right now, look at that thing twitch all over the place. Hardly keeps the front end on the ground as he grabs the throttle of the RC51 Honda.
Still a very close race among the 3 leaders here. The podium is now occupied by Nicky Hayden 3rd, Anthony Gobert 2nd, and Aaron Yates 1st. But that could change dramatically before the end of this one. Yates has certainly made another determined charge up through the field to take the lead, much as he did in the 600 Supersport. Miguel Duhamel in the pits once again. He had come back out onto the racetrack and was being shown in 31st position 2 laps down. Now he seems to be having trouble again in and out of the pits one more time, and he's having trouble getting out.
Bike not under full steam there, is having trouble getting it to fire and run on 2 cylinders. May have had some wire damage in that crash.
Here's Nicky Hayden looking for Anthony Gobert in 2nd place. He's got to get a little closer than that before he can challenge. He is inching up towards the number 16 Yamaha.
I'm saying 177 miles an hour up here.
On board with Nicky Hayden. Down into the chicane, the very difficult turn 1.
Three downshifts into there, back up into 4th. 130, little check up here on the throttle.
Pretty violent inputs to make that bike turn, no matter what you're riding.
You can see Nicky keeping the RPM out of the engine so it'll flick quicker from left to right there. Back left as he grabs the throttle into turn 5.
So Nicky Hayden stalking Anthony Gobert, while at the end of pit road, Miguel Duhamel's day seems to have come to an end one more time. The king of California Speedway so far seems to be Anthony Gobert, who came here, threw down the fastest time that no one could challenge to start from the pole. Took a while to get to the lead, but he has been unchallenged since then. He's starting to pull away a little bit from Nicky Hayden. And in 2nd position, however, to Aaron Yates, who is the new king of Fontana. Jamie Hacking running in 5th position, Doug Chandler 4th. Everybody kind of spread out just a little bit. Here's Hacking, still riding hard. but he made a little mistake. That's the reason he's sort of alone right now. Take a look at a close call for the 92.
Not really a mistake, but just catching a little bit of moisture on the racetrack at one of the transitions here. Whoa, 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 whoa. He stays on the throttle. It's about the only way you can get out of a tank slapper. Jamie Hacking going, man, that was fun.
Yeah, I stand corrected. That was far from a mistake. He did a lot of things right to save it. Nevertheless, Jamie Hacking running in 5th position right now, about 6 seconds behind the leader, and he's got a couple of seconds to make up to get back to Doug Chandler. Aaron Yates is your leader, and as we said, starting to pull away ever so slightly. At least it seemed that way, but now it looks like Anthony Gobert here in the closing laps of the race is starting to mount another charge.
Two very similar riding strategies going on here. Now Nicky Hayden's up in the fray. Lap traffic is calling this race. It's a pendulum. You try to be the first guy through traffic and scatter them from your chasers. But it looks like Anthony Gobert right now. I've seen him in the past, Brian. He can reel a guy in from 2.5 seconds back if he wants to. It seems to have just an unlimited reserve.
Whoa, big problem there. Up out of the seat, it looked like. Somebody ran off.
Somebody's heading for the pit, so they'll get back out. But you want to get out of the way of this guy because he's on the gas.
Well, Vincent Haskovich was in the neighborhood there with the leaders. Aaron Yates still riding smooth across the start-finish line. He's going to lead lap number 22. There are 6 remaining in the race now.
These guys have lapped up to 8th place Lee Agri. Simply amazing. Lee Agri, no slouch whatsoever. Nicky Hayden's got to go to work in this traffic. Right now, Yates is comfortable leading, trying to use that as a benefit to block his pursuers.
But Gobert is closing. Every lap, he's pulled back a couple of tenths. At the start-finish line, it was 1.1. I guarantee it's 0.1 now, and he goes inside.
Little bit of a mental concentration lapse on Aaron Yates. He pushed the front end, a little heavy on the brakes there. He's going to have to go back and get Gobert. I know he's not comfortable following Gobert to the traffic, Brian.
Anthony Gobert takes advantage of a small error by Aaron Yates. So in the closing 6 laps now, we've got another duel and a new leader.
Taking a look at the front straightaway speeds, 177 for all 3 of these motorcycles. So unless some major tuning change happened between the recorded times here in the race, it's going to be a dead heat to the finish line from the final corner.
Look at this, Yates pulling right up behind Gobert again. Where will he try a move?
Gobert getting on the gas really early to get a good drive onto the front straightaway here. But watch Aaron Yates work the draft off the back of the Yamaha. 5th gear, 6th gear, here comes the draft. Yates is going to take the lead.
He pulls out of the draft and he's going to go into turn 1. No, Gobert bends it over in front of him. Yates didn't have the good line.
Forget it, Southern boy. I'll show you what an Australian can do in California.
Well, he's from a little further south. Let's take a look at the pass for the lead, however, that Gobert put on Aaron Yates just a few moments ago.
Up the inside here, you can see Gobert's committed. Yates makes a little bit of a mistake, but he has to be careful out there on what I call the slime line. There's no rubber laid down there. Yates has to just let the bike come back to the racing line before he can apply the throttle and get back in the mix.
That's how Anthony Gobert took the lead. Now they're coming up behind Scott Jensen on the 161 here. Again, traffic has been a constant issue from very early in this race. Cleanly by Jensen, but Yates closes the gap using the lap traffic.
Brian, he got balked there getting by Jensen. That's allowed Yates to set up Anthony Gobert. Where's he going to make his move? It's going to be under braking, and it's going to be probably up the inside where Gobert took him the lap previous.
Now Nicky Hayden also getting by, and he lost some ground, however, but Yates is right there, definitely showing Anthony Gobert a wheel here and there. We're inside 5 laps to go at California Speedway in the first of 2 Superbike races this weekend. Big doings on speed.
traffic.
Less than 3 laps to go, and it's LA traffic for Anthony Gobert, who has opened a gap through the lap traffic on Aaron Yates. And Gobert now has a little bit of breathing room.
Oh man, Aaron Yates has got to go to work, Brian. Gobi found a new line down in turn 1. He's almost on the grass, a la NASCAR style. But he shortcutted turn 1, got 3 lap riders, and Aaron Yates had to follow those guys through turns 2 and 3. It cost him big time.
There are only 7 bikes on the lead lap. They have lapped all the way down to 8th position now. Liacri, as you mentioned before. So there's Aaron Yates. No one's in between, but there is some real estate to make up.
Jamie Hacking's gone down, Brian. That's going to make it a 3-bike tussle for the top 3 positions here. Hacking was doing so good, hanging right behind Doug Chandler, but Hacking down, his bike's in a wad.
Jamie Hacking, running in 5th position, is out of the race. And that puts a serious dent in his points total, at least for the season, but it is very early, and there's a lot of time to make it up. Here comes Anthony Gobert up on the 227 of Pedro Valiente one more time. Valiente going down another lap. There are riders 1 lap down. There are riders 2 laps down. Miguel Duhamel being shown most recently 9 laps down, meaning he has stopped. The others have kept going.
Same place as before. Yates being held up. He made up a full second. Now he gets pushed wide out onto the slime line. He takes the blimpy Yoshimura Suzuki, pitches it sideways, back on pursuit of Anthony Gobert. Yates having to work real hard if he wants this one, Brian.
Well, the traffic has certainly favored Anthony Gobert a couple of times. But every time it did, Yates has been able to make it up eventually. The problem is we're running out of eventually.
2 laps to go. And Aaron Yates right back on. Watch him under braking. Like I was pointing out with Doug Chandler, they're all trail braking so hard, so late, keeping the nose down through these transitions. Well, we got more lap traffic to come.
Coming up on the 26 of Randall Menenga, who finished 18th at Daytona.
I believe it was Robert Underwood on the 149. Let's see what kind of curveballs these guys throw at the leaders.
They'll see the white flag the next time up on the banking, indicating 1 lap remaining. We're inside 2. Here they go up on the banking. Let's see if Yates can pull a grab. Big slide out of Gobert.
Big slide out of Gobert. It cost him some drive on the front straightaway.
Yates sniffing around the lap rider. He's up in the draft. He's not going to get him into turn 1, but he's got a lap to try to make it up. 1 lap to go at California Speedway. A lapper in front of Gobert now in the chicane.
Oh, they're going to split. Robert Underwood gets out wide. That's not going to be an issue here right now, but Yates is in attack mode. Anthony Gobert, you better watch your tail, buddy.
Aaron Yates and Anthony Gobert going for the win in a 21 turn, 2.36 mile lap.
The Yamaha shooting flames out, trying to ward off the advances of Aaron Yates. On the blimpy Yoshimura Suzuki, big drive out of Yates. He's going to shoot up the inside here. If he wants it, he can take it.
Big body English out of Anthony Gobert in this very tricky, difficult right-hand turn. Yates is up the inside.
Ooh, not enough. That was so close. Aaron Yates tried to set him up there. He's got to sit back, regather his thoughts. And it's going to be a last turn move out of Aaron Yates. Gobert is just too strong through the infield.
Anthony Gobert is running like a scared rabbit, but he's hardly scared. They're side by side. Yates, no! Gobert saws him off.
Man. Yeah, the game of chicken into that turn, and it's going to happen again. Yates still within plenty. The lap riders, the 42 right now of Robert Mesa, Southern California rider.
He's inside Gobert. Oh, he has to back it out.
Gobert had to get on the brakes, Brian, and here comes Aaron Yates.
Aaron Yates got a much better drive in there, and he's closed the gap as they go up on the banking. It's to the stripe, side by side, photo finish.
Dead heat, dead heat. You can't tell who won that race. Gobert punching his fist in the air. Nicky Hayden's going to come across third, Brian.
Transponders say first place Anthony Gobert, second place Aaron Yates. But we know that the result in Supersport was reversed on photo finish for third place in the Supersport race. So while electronic scoring shows Anthony Gobert the winner, we're going to have to wait for the definitive word on that one, and perhaps we'll have to take several more looks.
Anthony Gobert saying, man, we were fishtailing all the way to the finish. We got our money's worth out of that set of Dunlop.
Let's see if we can play official. Yates coming hard on the outside. The line is there. Oh, I'd say Gobert.
Gobert by a valve cap.
Oh, man. Maybe the width of a tire. But you know what? When these two guys are side by side, they have a much better view of how it went. We'll certainly come back and talk to them, and we'll take yet another look perhaps too. Stay with us. Chevy Truck Superbike, brought to you by Technique, next generation technology for the next generation of champions. By Honda, the company that defines performance in motorcycles, ATVs, and scooters. By Joe Rocket, evolution of a champion. And by the Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R, AMA and FIM World 600 Supersport champion. The Yamaha Superbike Challenge has a most appropriate and deserving winner in Anthony Gobert, riding for Team Yamaha. Here is the photo finish by 14 1/1000ths of a second and by a valve cap. A little more. Anthony Gobert is the winner. So take a look at the official results here. You saw it with your own eyes. Anthony Gobert will be the winner over Aaron Yates, Hayden, Chandler, Picott, and Mladin. Come up big here by gaining points that they might have not
Look at the
gained.
privateers.
And 4 privateers in the top 10 again, including
Lee
Deathridge and Liebengood, who did the same thing at Daytona.
Brian Perry out Southern California. He's on the White Tips Motorsports Privateer Suzuki 750. Work our way back through all Suzukis in the privateer ranks.
You're going to go all the way down, I believe, to 29th place before you see Jamie Hacking. So he'll come out of here with 2 points for the weekend. Let's go downstairs to Greg White.
Well, Anthony Gobert, what an amazing finish. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I thought it was pretty comfortable at the front a bit, and then I got held up a little bit. Aaron got right on me, and he got past me. He started pulling away, and I had to burn my tire up getting back with him to get past him. At the end, there was nothing left, and I knew he must have been in the same boat, so I just kept trying to stand it up and drive it, and that was enough, only just. You know, he nearly got me in the last couple of corners, but it was a tough race. It was good to win.
Well, there's nothing left in the tires. What about you physically?
I feel pretty good. Well, I'm not going to tell you I'm knackered. No, I feel really good, and looking forward to tomorrow.
Anthony Gobert, another win for Yamaha. Brian?
All right, our congratulations also to Anthony Gobert, and knackered or not, Ski's got a race again tomorrow twice, Supersport and Superbike. So Anthony Gobert, but he's a tough guy, and that is going to be a very, very big day indeed for him tomorrow. Great job. And loading up the damaged bike of Jamie Hacking, who again had a crash late in the race, at least picked up a couple of points. But by our tally, it appears as though Anthony Gobert and Nicky Hayden, who finished third, they reversed their positions from Daytona. They'll be tied in points going into tomorrow. Back to Greg White.
Well, down here with Aaron Yates, what a great race for you. Second place, not bad.
Yeah, you know, we the bike's been going real good all weekend, the Olympia Yoshimura Suzuki, and you know, I thought we had a real good chance of winning the race. I got by Nicky come by, you know, and we got to running, and I saw we were slowing down a little, and I just knew that, you know, I had to go. I got by him, and then I chased down Gobert and got by him. I made a little messed up over there, and he got back by, and you know, chased him down at the end of the traffic. You know, kind of it played a part, and you know, it almost helped us, but I had to breathe it there in the draft from the front straight because I about tailed the guy. So,
well, great ride, Aaron. Second place, Brian.
Fourth at Daytona, second here. First place to the Team Yamaha. My thanks to David Sadowski and Greg White downstairs, to you for joining us. I'm Brian Drebert. See you tomorrow.